Well, good morning. It's Monday morning, and we're back from France. We had a wonderful time. We came back. A couple of our traveling companions were feeling a little sore throatish, and we came back and tested, and several of us tested positive for COVID. Who knew? I don't even know how to say COVID in French. But anyway, I'll be working from home this week, trying to keep all of you safe, and we'll see what happens on Sunday. Well, that's to be determined. So pray for us, and nonetheless, we continue with Acts chapter 15, verses 1 through 5, which say, Some men came down from Judea and were teaching the brothers, Unless you are circumcised according to the custom of Moses, you cannot be saved. And after Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and debate with them, Paul and Barnabas and some of the others were appointed to go up to Jerusalem to the apostles and elders about this question. So being sent on their way by the church, they passed through both Phoenicia and Samaria, describing in detail the conversion of the Gentiles, and brought great joy to all the brothers and sisters. When they came to Jerusalem, they were welcomed by the church and the apostles and the elders, and they declared all that God had done with them. But some believers who belonged to the party of the Pharisees rose up and said, It is necessary to circumcise them and to order them to keep the law of Moses. So there's the conflict. Now we have to think of this way. In Judaism of the time, there were various parties and sects and opinions. Something like we have, Catholics and Methodists and Presbyterians and Baptists who agree on the fundamentals but disagree on a whole bunch of details. It was sort of that way in Judaism, and the Pharisees were very much in favor of seeing people obey the law. You had to obey the rules. And the Pharisees come up and say, look, Jesus, these are people who believe in Jesus, okay? These are not like outsiders. They're in the church, but they're Jewish people in the church. They've been converted. And they're saying, well, he was a Jewish Messiah, and so they have to be Jews if they're going to worship the Jewish Messiah. So we have to circumcise them and bring them into all the dietary rules and all the laws of Moses. And Paul and others keep saying, no, no, no. Paul is very strongly going to argue that this is just simply wrong. And this is the fundamental question for the early church. This is the first big issue. If they agree with these Judaizers, as they're called in the literature, then Christianity becomes nothing more than another variation on Judaism and another Jewish sect. If they don't agree, if they say no, you're wrong, then Christianity splits off from Judaism and is not a part of that same tradition, or it has some common traditions in the past, but it's not a part of it. And so this is a really fundamental question for the early church. We all think that Paul came down on the right side of the answer. Excuse me, and we all think that Paul knew what he was talking about. But you could ponder what might be different if Paul had lost that argument. And what we see here is that truth doesn't fall out of heaven inscribed on golden tablets or something. Truth comes as people struggle with each other and argue with each other and debate, and the Spirit works in that debate to produce the answers. This is what Presbyterians have always believed about how the Spirit works when we meet together in assembly. So in a congregational meeting or in the Presbyterian meeting or the General Assembly meetings, the Spirit works through the debate and leads us to common understandings of what the truth is. Even if we personally disagree with it, then we are somewhat obligated to at least accept the fact that the church has spoken on this issue in this direction and this way. So there's something for you to think about. You might not like it, but that's kind of how it goes in the Presbyterian Church. And I hope to see you tomorrow. We'll continue with more of this chapter, more of this, the first council, the Council of Jerusalem. We'll continue with what they debated and what they finally said should happen. So have a great day and stay well. See you tomorrow.